All right, a quick week, I feel like. Maybe not for some, but for me, quick week. Maybe because of all these games coming and an exciting week in Major League Baseball. Final series of the year. This is my first year doing Red Sox Now, presented by FanArch. Thanks for tuning in for the first time, possibly. If we can have a big weekend with subscribers, so if you see that subscribe button, I know you see it. Like as well, but please subscribe. We could possibly get to 2,000 before the Major League playoffs begin on Tuesday, which is kind of cool because it's my younger niece's birthday, and I already got her a gift. So, well, I got her what she wants. So, have some cake on Tuesday and celebrate playoffs. There'll be 4 games that day. So please do that. Hit the subscribe button. I'm Mike. I'm sure all of you know that. If you don't, welcome to the program. When you see comments from Mike Antonellis Media, that is me. Subscribe to that channel as well. We do comments after every channel. The last channel, as you see, the last bar are 4 little things that we do. And, yeah, the comments are great. I can tell which one of you guys or gals are new. I don't know how, but I can tell. So I tried to take 3 new comments from 3 new subscribers. So I know a lot of you comment every day, and I'll definitely get to more of yours. So sorry, I do respond to all yours, but I try to read the ones on the show that have not been read. I should make a database in Excel. I love Excel spreadsheets. I should do that. So welcome to Red Sox Now, episode 140-ish. Thank you for joining me. Final show of the week. And a lot of things are clearer in Major League Baseball. We will get to that in a few minutes. I've seen this a few times. I don't agree with this because you just have to back off and have perspective. That's what I try to give. It's just my nature. It hurts more when the Red Sox lose the final game of the series. Why? I don't get that. Sweeps are hard. No one's sweeping anybody. No one has. You are one of 4 teams in the American League that has a winning road record. You went 4-2 on the road trip. Yeah, last night wasn't great. It wasn't. I was hoping they won. My realistic thoughts, honestly, were I'd take 2 of 3. You played the best team in the American League in their building, and you took 2 of 3. I get it. Yeah, I know. You had a chance for the sweep, but perspective. And I know a lot of you are going, if they had just won one more game on that last home, yep. Page Turner. Can't go back. You don't think a lot of these teams are thinking that? Toronto, we just lost 2 of 3 to the Red Sox at home. They've had some of their struggles. Now, they have the division lead. They have the head-to-head. You don't think Detroit, if we had just won one more game, we went 1-5 against Cleveland. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, everywhere. Houston, awful. Got swept by Seattle. They have had a bad month. They're on the outside looking in. They don't have the tiebreaker against anybody. If we had just won one more game, right? Everyone can do that game. You went 4-2. When you look at it now, and I said this going into that road trip, I didn't care what anyone else did because it wouldn't have mattered if you didn't play good baseball. Had you gone 2-4, you'd be on the outside looking in. Had you gone 3-3, as we look at things now, you'd be tied with Detroit, which you don't have the head-to-head, so you'd be the last playoff club. You'd still have a 2-game lead over Houston, but things would be a little bit different. And that theme of it doesn't matter when anyone else does continues. You just win tonight, and it's over. That was a road trip you must have. I get the 2-4 homestand, but the theme of what I've talked about all year with how you, it's pretty much how it is in the game of baseball. You strive to go 500 on the road and kick butt at home. And it was a road trip you needed you needed. You could not have a losing road trip as we look at it now. 1-5, 3 less losses. You're 84-75, and you're a game behind Houston. Then you would have to hope that they would lose this weekend. They play the Angels, by the way. Every game on Sunday, by the way, starts at 3:05. So that 4-2 is as bad as the 2-4 homestand was. The 4-2 road trip was huge and showed me a lot. You had to step it up. You had to go on the road after that, and you did. And that 4-2, if you win one of these 3 games, which, come on, you're a playoff team. That's it. Last night was last night. I thought Bayo was okay. I didn't think he was as good as Lou was talking about. I don't mind the traffic during the game because I like to see how he handled that. Gave up a triple to Lucas and got Guerrero and Barger out. Yeah, he pitched around trouble. That's why he came out early. Didn't throw his changeup much. I didn't see, his command was a little off, and I know the common theme with a lot of these, with a lot of the talk is this immediately go to, it's the end of the year. Is it something going on, a dead arm or no? I don't think so because I still look at his velocity, his sinker and fastball. I'm looking at his usage. He threw 4 changeups, so I don't know. Didn't have a feel for that, maybe. Maybe that was the game plan. I don't know. Lou thought that was weird. I thought it was weird. It's one of his best pitches. Heavy sinker, heavy cutter. That's one of my criticisms of the Red Sox, though. In Andrew Bailey, at times. Now, it's hard to criticize pitching staff that's been pretty damn good. Now, I assume 4 changeups means that it's a good change-up hitting team. I still think you've got to use your strength. That's one of his better pitchers. I don't care what Toronto's hitting against changeups because they're not all built equal. I don't know. I didn't look at the game story, but I'd have to think he didn't have a feel for that. For the fact that he threw 4. But his velocity was still where it is, 93 to 95, topped out at 96. That's no dead arm. That's Bayo. He's had a lot of outings like that. So I don't put any. There's nothing that I watched last night that I thought, oh, this is the end of the season. He hasn't been great this month, but he's had pockets of this. His season high in walks came in July. Remember how he started? Season high in walks twice in May. I think we sometimes think of the number 2, like that him and number 2, that it's like he's a little less than Crochet type. He's more of a 3 than a 2 to me. That's where if you could get a number 2 and slot him down more. But you didn't score any runs while he was out there. And he still went 5+, and Wilson came in, gave up his first grand slam he's ever given up. And that was the game. You had 4 hits. So people will gravitate to the Bayo thing, but I don't know why. You had no runs. So even if he was scoreless, might not have mattered. I thought their pitching was great. That guy Varlin looked good, how they just kept bringing everyone in. And, you just tip your cap. It's a road game. You won 4 of 6. It's not worth overthinking. They're the best team in the American League, and you took 2 of 3 from them. And the hits last night were low. Yoshida, Story, and Duran. And the Red Sox did load the bases in that last inning as well. So that's that. We move on. And I'm going to continue my... I am bugging the you-know-what out of Netflix. I talked about this yesterday. Were they a year off or what? Even in documentaries, if you watch the 24 Red Sox, they look for drama. Okay? The documentary, by the way, was not made just for Red Sox fans. There was a lot of the Bayo. Remember when they had Bayo saying, if you didn't see it, I'll let you in. He was kind of getting on Wong. He keeps calling fastball. And they put that in on purpose because they want all that drama because it's a TV show. And I said yesterday they were a year off because they would have used that plane ride as symbolism to the season. They would have ran with that plane thing, that plane ride. If you don't know, the Red Sox had a really bad plane flight to Minnesota where guys were throwing up, and then they started doing the plane thing when they're on base. But now, I mean, this is ridiculous. Like I said this a couple weeks ago, how Hollywood cannot write better scripts. It just so happens that the ball is going to be in the hand of Kyle Harrison, who you traded your franchise player for. And he has a chance to get the win in a clinching game against the Tigers. You got to be kidding me how this worked out. Now, I'll be honest with you. If the Red Sox lose tonight, well, okay, if they lose and Houston wins, yeah, each day I'll be a little more nervous. But I think it's going to be over tonight. They want to get it out of the way. Players want to get out of the way. And maybe Houston does lose. They play the Angels. I'm not holding my breath. You know what's weird about that? Houston has Jason Alexander on the mound, not George Costanza. Jason Alexander has been pretty good for the Astros. He was with the Woo Sox all of last year. Did not get a chance to pitch with Boston. Now, he's a journeyman. And he's been pretty good. He is 4-2 with Houston with a 3.65 ERA. It's just weird that he is pitching tonight for the Astros. And a former Woo Sox, I mean, if he gets lit up, he would have, a connection to the Red Sox clinching. But the fact that Kyle Harrison has got the ball tonight. Netflix, you were a year off. No, maybe not a year off. Maybe they should have just said, the heck with it. Let's just roll the cameras for 25. But what compelling TV this would be. Can you imagine the episode if the Red Sox win tonight? Or if you watched a movie where a team traded their best player and then a guy who couldn't get to the big leagues the whole year gets passed up by Tolley early, and then all of a sudden gets to the big leagues, is a reliever, makes a great start in Tampa, and then clinches it. That would be absolutely crazy. That can happen tonight. All it takes is a win or a Houston loss. And the Sox clinch for the first time in a while. In a while for Red Sox fans. All right, MLB playoff standings entering the final series. Seattle clinched. They play the Dodgers this weekend. Identical records. They both clinched. Dodgers clinched. It's crazy. Seattle will host the Dodgers. The Dodgers don't have anything to play for because they can't move in the standings because they're 4 behind Philly. So they'll be the 3 seed. So they're going to have Sheehan tonight pitching. Seattle doesn't have their pitchers listed. Now, Seattle, let's go team versus team. Seattle does not have the head-to-head against Toronto. So they're essentially 2 games behind Toronto with 3 to go. I don't think that they're going to play. I don't know. I don't want to speak for them. But I think that they would just take that they'll be locked in that 2 seed. They would have to go. Yeah, they would have to win out. And they play the Dodgers, which they could because the Dodgers have nothing to play for. So that's interesting. Cleveland has the tiebreaker over Detroit. They have identical records. So Detroit would have to win obviously. Cleveland has to lose their series. They're home against Texas. Detroit would have to win their series. Toronto has the 1-game advantage over the Yankees because they hold the tiebreaker. Toronto is home against Tampa. and the Yankees are home against Baltimore. So Toronto, that's going to be fun. So those teams have something to play for in the final series. That's why this was developed. Except in the National League. Now, Milwaukee has a 2-game lead over Philly. And Milwaukee has the head-to-head. Not surprising. So that means that it's a 3-game lead for Milwaukee with 3 to go. So if they win one of their remaining games, they play Cincinnati at home. This is where it gets interesting. We'll start with the National League first. All right? Cincinnati is a game behind the Mets. They hold the tiebreaker, but they have the Brewers, who have a little to play for. Arizona's 2 back. Arizona plays at San Diego. Cubs and San Diego have already clinched. Not sure yet who will be what. But really, it's Cincinnati, the Mets. The Mets are at Miami, who's been a hot team. They have lost 2 in a row. Over in the AL, Detroit, we know they play Boston. They right now hold a 1-game lead over Houston, and they have the tiebreaker. Houston is, as we said, at the Angels. Let me just double check that. Hold on. Detroit. Yeah, the Tigers, yep. The Tigers have the head-to-head. I knew that the Houston doesn't have the head-to-head over anybody or Boston. So it is interesting. You know, there's a lot of similarities between the Red Sox and the Tigers. And the Tigers have been good the last 2 years because they've built on pitching. And they have lost 2 of their starters this year, Job and Reese Olson. And they tried Morton, who they DFA'd. But they're limping down the stretch. They haven't had the depth. Their bullpen is not anywhere like the Red Sox. But in their lineup, you know, when you look at their lineup, not a great lineup. They're without Baez. Riley Green's pretty good. I mean, they got some pop in that lineup. But they've been able to get to, even though this is disappointing, than 86 wins because they have arms. Mize, who goes tonight, actually has more wins than Skubal. But you have 2 good guys at the top, and the other 2 who are injured, Job and Olson. Now, Job was pretty good for them. He was 4-1 at the time. Olson was 4-4, but had an ERA of 3.15. So they lost 2 big starters, and you know, so some of the injuries they haven't been able to recover. And I've noticed that this is really a thing everywhere, and I see why more and more teams are, and the Red Sox did it, just picking up as many pitchers as you can. No more, it's a luxury. You've got to have 10 starters now. You know, you almost have to have 5 guys in the minor leagues, which is hard to do. But just with all the, I've looked at all these teams. And the Red Sox, I think, have done a great job surviving all of this. Because it really could have turned, in a bad direction. By the way, Rafael Devers is having a pretty good year. He's played 160 games, 251. He had 234 with the Giants, 34, 107 RBIs, and he is at 190 strikeouts, but has 109 walks. Wow. All right, let's get to comments before we head out. At Benjamin Casillas, 4116. At this point, today before the playoffs, we had a great season. Future looks bright. We stepped over adversities and show this young core been amazing for years to come. Born in Puerto Rico, but a Boston diehard since 1975. Awesome. This team makes me fall in love again. Go Sox. All right. Puerto Rico. We love that. That's the only word I can say. I can roll my tongue. I don't know. Roll my R's. At Bapos23, Crochet has been better than advertised. I did not think that was going to be possible. We're not here without him. No, you're right. Real talk, though. If you take over GM of any franchise, wouldn't the Sox be near the top of your list of teams you'd want? Even if these playoffs don't go the way you want, I'm excited for the next 5. It's nice to see Mazza hitting the changes if he keeps contributing. Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely think no one wanted the job before, but I think now that you have Crochet, you have a solid young core. Absolutely. I think it depends. If you're a seasoned general manager, like say Dombrowski was on available again, he never had the Red Sox job. I don't know. I don't think he would take it. A seasoned guy might not take this. I think the Braves job would be good. But yeah, I think with Crochet and Anthony, I just think of the division you're in. That could turn someone off. But yeah, I think it's definitely a great job. That's a great comment. I like that. At G11 Clark, couldn't agree more with Romy at second. Who knows? We'll end up next year. Yeah, but sure glad he's there now. Absolutely. Absolutely. He's been great. I mean, he's been pretty damn consistent. I saw someone yesterday say he's not consistent. I don't know what they're looking at. He's not had one of those in the season where a lot of guys have been extreme. He's not had that. All right. Hope tonight's the night. Comment all day on the show. And if the Red Sox win, I'll be right on here too. I'll be watching. We can maybe I'll do something live on my personal YouTube. But tonight's the night. Red Sox win or Houston loses. They're in the playoffs. Again, for the first time in a while. Few years for the Red Sox. That's going to do it for the show. Red Sox Now is presented by Fan Arch here on YouTube. Tonight it is Kyle Harrison, part of the Rafael Devers deal against Casey Mize at Fenway. First pitch is at 7:10. Have yourself a great weekend, great Friday night. As always, go Sox.